Hey friends, with you Vishal. Are you watching RD Group of Management Training Academy? Today we will talk about the 5 DGCA AIC 07 2007 grant of permission for providing ground handling services at airports other than those belonging to the Airports Authority of India, and AAI 2007 Airports Authority of India General Management Entry for Ground Handling Services Regulations. These two documents along with subsequent amendments are the main foundations to this paper. These documents give a clear picture about the ground handling regulations in India. One of the methods used for this research is by interviews, face-to-face and via the telephone. An interview is a meeting where a series of questions are asked to the interviewee to obtain valuable information on the subject matter. Macmillan Publishers, 2011. Data collected from interviews were from top officials of the aviation industry from International Civil Aviation Organization, safety and security regulators in Australia, airlines, airports and ground handling companies in Europe, Australia and India. As the duration of this thesis is only for 3 months, only 12 interviews were conducted. Where interview was not possible, questionnaires were sent out to obtain data. A questionnaire is a set of questions that people were asked to know their opinion on the subject. Macmillan Publishers, 2011b. Open-ended qualitative questionnaires were also used in this project to have a clear understanding of different perspectives on the same topic. Nearly 25 to 30 questionnaires were sent, out of which only few participants responded. Ground handling regulation in India. A comparison with international policies and practices. 1.5 Limitations due to non-accessibility of data on ground handling policy in USA, a major aviation market. This market is not widely discussed in this paper. As the research was conducted in Australia, participation from Indian officials about this topic is restricted to the interviews conducted via phone and through emailed questionnaires. Ground handling regulation in India is considered as a topical issue and also a very sensitive one, therefore participation from officials, especially the regulators, is also limited. The political, social, and organizational cultures in India are also not discussed within the scope of this paper. Ground handling regulation in India. A comparison with international policies and practices. 2 Background. In 2007, the Director General of Civil Aviation in India issued a circular for information, guidance and compliance on the grant of permission for providing ground handling services at airports other than those belonging to the Airports Authority of India AAI, Gohan, 2007. Subsequently in the same year, the AAI issued a regulation to all airports owned by them, based on the circular issued by the DGCA called the Airports Authority of India General Management Entry for Ground Handling Services Regulations, 2007 AAI, 2007. These regulations invited wide criticism from the community of private aircraft operators in India. The primary reason for these regulations was identified in the circular No. 4/2007 dated 19 February 2007, issued by the Bureau of Civil Aviation Security (BCAS), which stated that there are number of ground handling agencies working at the airports in the country without prior security clearance and background checks. As a result of these regulations, private aircraft operators could no longer carry out self-ground handling at airports located at Delhi, Mumbai, Chennai, Kolkata, Bangalore and Hyderabad. Zaidi, 2010a. On 4 March 2011, the regulators of this service under the banner of Union of India were given a favourable judgment against the Federation of Indian Airlines, consisting of mainly the private aircraft operators, in the High Court of Delhi. Subsequently, the Federation of Indian Airlines has taken this case to the Supreme Court of India and the hearing is in process at the time of writing this paper. As a reactive step by the BCAS on matters of ground handling security requirements at airports in India, the ground handling regulation by DGCA and AAI issued during 2007 restricted the number of ground handling service providers. Ground handling performed by airlines themselves, self-handling, was restricted at 6 major airports in the country. In airports owned by AAI, other than Chennai and Kolkata, self-handling is permitted but restricted to foreign airlines operating in India as per the new regulation. The aircraft operators are required to obtain this service from any of the 3 entities mentioned in the regulation, ZADI 2010A. But because of certain issues with some of these entities, discussed later in this paper, international airlines with foreign registrations are also facing some difficulty. Therefore this research is focused on the following main questions. 1. What are the main issues with the new ground handling policy in India? Why is self-handling at the airside not permitted at 6 major airports in India? Are there any international ground handling policy standards, regulations that prohibit self-handling? 2. What are the major ground handling rules and regulations practiced in USA, Europe and Australia? 3. Is India's ground handling policy consistent with the international standards, rules and regulations? If not, what are the recommendations to improve the current ground handling regulations?